Well, hi. Today is Friday, November 8th, 2024, and it is time for another morning coffee. I'm Todd Studer. Thank you so much for joining me again this morning. Last night, I was at the Rev Pitch Competition 2024, thanks to TS Bank and Advanced Southwest Iowa Corporation for always doing a wonderful job with this event. It was held at the Hoff Family Arts and Culture Center, and what a night. There was some big winners last night. First, the winner of $500, Council Bluffs Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. That's Byron. I know that gentleman. And congratulations, Byron and his family, for picking up that $500. And also the winner of $4,000 grant was Julie Wiesman with My Nurse Healthcare. I've known Julie for a few years, and she's planning on using that money to be able to further education for her staff when it comes to memory care and different things involved with her home care business. And the big winner last night, well, his name, I'm going to pull out I have his business card right here so I can make sure that I get it correctly. He has a business called Terraform Tillage. And there's a family farm over by Eldora, Iowa, and that's where he is based out of. So he drove over here from Eldora. It's a pretty good drive. Jeske is his name, and he won $15,000 last night for, he's got a really cool invention. Tell you what, I had an opportunity to talk with Josh after he got that big giant check. Josh Jeske, congratulations. You made a long drive over here from the Eldora area, which is in the central part of the state, and you're going home with a big check. It's not just a large amount of money, but it's a really big check.
It was a very large check. You're absolutely right.
Do you get to take that home with you?
I hope so. I'm gonna need a bigger bank for that big check, I think.
All right. Very briefly, I know we don't have a ton of time, but just briefly about your business. You've developed a way for farmers to be able to test compaction in the soil and only use the tillage where it's needed as opposed to going across the whole field. Is that about what it is?
Yeah, I think you nailed it. So soil compaction really restricts root growth. Mm-hmm. So roots have a much harder time growing and finding nutrients in the deeper subsoil. Unfortunately, farmers don't have great options for determining how compacted it is, how far out in their field there's compaction, and how deep they should go with their tillage to remediate that. What we've done is developed a couple cool little tools to do just that.
How far back does this idea go for you?
It's so funny. So it's been almost 5 years to the day. I won the Iowa State Innovation Prize for this idea, the tillage tuner, as I call it, which we just debuted today. So about almost 5 years to the day is when this all started.
So it all started back then. Did you grow up on a farm?
I sure did.
So that's what you saw a need, and this is just the coolest thing then. When people find something that, okay, there's something that needs to be fixed, and then you develop a way of doing it, that's the really cool part. And plus, you and I come from a very close to the same area.
Right, yeah, you're an Iowa Falls guy.
Yeah, Hardin County.
Hardin County.
Yeah, that's where I was born at and grew up in Northwest Iowa, but still, I'm very, very familiar with that part of the state.
Right.
So first, congratulations.
Oh,
you did a wonderful job with the pitch. I know that the pitch itself, that can be a little nerve-wracking because you got a lot of stuff memorized. You want to get through everything. Where it really gets hard is when the judges start asking you questions because you don't know what it is that they're going to come up with.
You sure don't.
And you did a great job of being able to answer their questions in a way that it sounded like, especially when you're speaking farm language.
Sure.
There weren't any farmers on the judges panel.
No.
I know those people. So you have to communicate to them in a way that, because like if you're talking with your family or another farmer, it's a different language and you're going to understand each other.
Is.
Yeah. So what's the next step then? Where do you go with this product?
What's the next step? So we're with this money, we're really going to try to use a lot of it for marketing to expand our user base. So in the pitch I talked about, we've been up for just almost 3 months. We already have 150 users in 24 different countries, which is super exciting. But I think there's a lot more room for opportunity there. And once we build up a good user base and really get the product honed into where, everyone loves it. There's no bugs, early startups, early companies, you kind of got to fight those things a little bit. But once we're there, we'll switch to a subscription model and hopefully be able to sustain the business long term. And then on the other side, we developed a new product which we just debuted today called the Tillage Tuner, where we can swap out the coil spring on almost any tillage implement and put it on a little shorter spring with a custom sensor. So whenever you do a tillage pass, you're constantly monitoring soil compaction. So we've got a long list of implements and people that want specific implements built. So we can adapt this to almost anything. So we've got a lot of research and development in front of us. We've got a great working product right now, but I mean, the sky's the moon.
Well,
or the sky's the limit.
I get it. It does. I mean, number one, I'm sure you've been up for a long time because you couldn't have slept well last night. You get all the way over here from Eldora, so everything is fine. The other thing that I want to mention to you, and I touched base on it just briefly,
Sure.
is I'd already made an agreement with Advanced Southwest Iowa before this began that the grand prize winner of this was going to receive 3 months of marketing from me for my morning show. So. You've got that.
All right.
So you're going to be a part of what it is we're doing on the morning show. We'll push things out and try to talk to as many farmers as we can. So
that is awesome.
That's
Thank you
just
so
part
much,
of
Mr.
it.
Studer.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
And that's the last time you call me Mr. Studer. Well, you can tell Josh just has a ton of energy, and I'm looking forward to seeing what he accomplishes with this invention. I think that this young man is really going places, and also as part of winning that, I told him last night that he's going to be coming on as a sponsor. I'm just going to cover the cost of that. So for the next few months, we'll be learning more about Josh Jeske and everything going on with Terraform Tillage and what he's doing for area farmers. He's already been over in this area helping folks get set up. He's in multiple countries, and we're going to learn all about Josh over the next few months. So I was excited to be able to offer that opportunity to him. And again, congratulations to everyone who were finalists last night at Rev Pitch Competition 2024. And let's have another great event again next year. Also, coming up on the 22nd of November is going to be Winterfest in Council Bluffs. And part of what's going to be going on is at the Masonic Temple. It's going to be a warming station. They'll have hot chocolate. They'll have cookies. They'll have hot cider. There'll be carolers there. And I'm actually going to be doing a live webcast from there that same night. And so knowing that was going on, I wanted to go over and talk with a couple of gentlemen. And we kind of just settled in and had a long conversation about the Masons. And I want to bring you part of that conversation. Well, we are down at the Masonic Lodge in Council Bluffs, and we're going to learn a little bit more about the Masons today. And then the cool thing about this for me is that I don't know a lot, so I'm going to personally learn a lot about this organization that goes back hundreds of years. And these gentlemen, while they haven't been with the organization for hundreds of years, they have been for a while. So this is Fred Getch and also Patrick Morgan joining us here today. And Fred, let's just start with you. Can you give me a little bit of the background of starting with Freemasonry and going back, to the forming of it, and then also how long this particular organization has been in Council Bluffs?
Well, first of all, thanks for having us, Todd. Yes, Freemasonry got its roots basically from the cathedral builders and the old stonemasons in the Middle Ages. As it evolved and the cathedrals were basically built and they didn't have the need to keep their guild going, which, a guild was the precursor of basically the union today, they started bringing in speculative masons as well as operative masons. And as that evolved, in 1717, the Grand Lodge of England was formed, which was the first speculative Mason organization, and it has since moved to the United States. But overall, Masonry is the oldest fraternity in the world. Some say that it's the most recognized sign in the world.
I would agree.
The square and compass. And it goes back to, as I say, 1717. There were 9 presidents in this country that have been Masons. Let me correct that, 15 that were Masons, and 9 of the people that signed the Declaration of Independence were Masons. James Madison, Ben Franklin, he was one of the most famous Masons. But that's basically where it came from the old stone Masons. And what has happened, speculative Masonry uses the implements that the old stonemasons used in their craft to symbolically create and teach a system of moral values.
I think that from visiting with you gentlemen before we got started here, a lot of this, when you think about the qualities that would have been in those people going all the way back to who were Masons before the fraternity was even organized, you're right. There is a certain amount of morality that goes along with that and the qualities that these people have. And I think that is what you are trying to emulate and use those same type of morals and values in regardless of what industry that you're in now.
That's correct. Basically, they adapted the old chivalry that the knights had and what have you back in the Middle Ages.
I think that's, I have this little, one of my little pet peeves, you talk about chivalry, is anytime I see a couple walking down the road and I don't see the man walking on the street side. That's, that's something that, man, get over there, kind of thing. Or, opening doors and things like that. It's just small things that matter. And I think that's what, as I'm learning more and more about you, that's what's impressing me most, that it's bringing back those values and making sure that they stay in the forefront. But now with this facility that we're in here now, I know that there's a lot of people that have driven by it. A lot of people have seen your sign, but past that, it's just something to them is taking up space. They don't really know what's going on over here. You're sitting right here at, at 6th and Willow, and I know personally, this is the first time I've been in this building, and you can feel the history when you walk in here.
Well, Masonry is steeped in history. There's no doubt about that. And as you know, you went through a tour here just a few minutes ago. We're not a secret organization. No. And by the way, we don't have a bunch of gold hidden in the basement either. But
all right, well, I'll cancel the phone call there. But when did the Masons come to Council Bluffs?
The first lodge was Bluff City Lodge number 71, and they came in 1844.
And that was that the one that was located over, because you showed me a picture on 4th and Broadway? Is that where that was at?
On 4th and Broadway.
Which, by the way, the building doesn't even exist anymore.
That's correct.
But that's where the first one was at. How long have you been here in this building?
I believe this was 1955.
Was the building built specifically for this purpose then?
Yes. The Masonic Temple Board was formed from the three Masonic lodges, which we call Blue Lodges: Excelsior Lodge number 259, Cobiah number 631, and the original lodge, Bluff City 71. And they formed the Temple Board, who built this building.
Now, something else that we talked about that I was aware of, but I don't know that everyone is, that everyone's heard of the Shriners, and you have to be a Mason to become a Shriner. So the two organizations are very, very intertwined.
The Shrine, yes. You have to be a Mason to be a Shriner. And the Shrine is considered the playground of Masonry. Okay. They get out there and do a lot of things. They're our number one producer for charity. They have 23 or 21 burn centers, orthopedic centers. Now they're into cleft palates. They put a tremendous amount of money into burned and crippled children. Our shrine over in Omaha, Tangier, is really one of the nicest ones in the country. They're very active. There's 21 units, I believe, over there, and 15 clubs. They're the premier donator into our charitable system. Overall, Masonry contributes $2.6 million a day. A day into charity, and that includes all of our appendant bodies, the Shriners, of course, all the Blue Lodges across the country. We have the York Rite, Scottish Rite, the Order of the Eastern Star for women. Job's Daughters do a lot for the hearing impaired. So there's a lot of appendant bodies out there that do a lot of work to raise money.
What about you locally here? What are some of the things that, different things that you've been involved with that maybe people don't even know that you're the ones that are doing it?
Well, I'd like to bring Pat in on this
Okay.
for mainly one reason. One of the years which I was master here, and I've been master 4 times, he called me, I believe, when he was on vacation, with an idea of putting on a burger feed for the police officers. And at that time, the country was in a turmoil with the police and what have you. And I thought, man, that's a great idea. And I think we just did our 5th year in a row. But I'm going to let Pat talk about that.
Yeah, part of our tenets as a Freemason or as a Masonic Lodge here in Council Bluffs is that we give back to our community. We're part of the community. We like to do what we can for our people because we know if we have a stronger community like we have in Council Bluffs, we have stronger members and we're better off nationally as a community and as a state. We host several functions throughout the year. Like Fred was saying, we do Burgers for Blue. We do that in May. We just started our first responder meal where we'll take the firemen, paramedics, EMS through the counties, and we'll provide meals for them. We have the Winterfest coming up in November. We have a hog roast in November that we'll do here. Public is welcome for that. For the Winterfest, we'll do a warming house with hot chocolate. And of course, we'll have hot tea, hot cider for our people, and a warming house, bathrooms, things like that. We also have entertainment from the Shrinery. The Tangiers, we have a group called the Chanters that will come in and perform songs for us. So they'll be singing for the community when they come in. We have scholarships, not only locally, that we give to our outlanding cities, but we also have them for the statewide. Our Grand Lodge gives out about $325,000 a year for high school scholarships. So we're really large on education, and that's part of our tenet as being a Mason. Masonic nursing homes, we also perform or we help with a Ride to the Wall, where people are riding to the wall in Washington, D.C. Military people will ride here. We'll provide food and nourishment for them, give them a little rest before they're on their way. So we take part in the community in a lot of ways. We do have community-based operations where they'll ask us for donations throughout, and we try to give as much as possible.
I found it interesting that when we were talking about like Winterfest last year, warming station, giving out hot cocoa and things, that first off, you got way more people than you expected.
Yes.
But also how often you were getting the question or the comments about, who are you guys? What is this place and why are you here? I found that very interesting because, as you said, you've been here since the 50s, but yet people just, it's one of those things that's kind of flown under the radar the whole time.
Yeah, I can see that with the answer from the people on that or the question with that. But if you would look back in every one of your cities, even in Pot County, we have 5 Masonic lodges in Pot County itself. But about every city that you will go into, you'll see a Masonic lodge inside it. Mm-hmm. Years ago, the history of Masonic, every town would have a Masonic area. That's where the community would come for parties, sometimes for dinners. They would always know where it's at. Sometimes they would have a ballroom in there where they would host dances. You could see at some of the Masonic buildings that we have, like here, our kitchen and our facility here is on the main floor, whereas our business end is upstairs, where we do our business as lodges. In other communities like Missouri Valley, Dunlap, and Oakland, you'll see them up in the second levels of maybe some buildings. But you'll always be recognized by the square and compass of the lodge.
You also, the room that we're sitting in right now is something, and you touched on it, Fred, that is available to the public should they need a large meeting room. It's not expensive. You're not using that as an effort to try to maximize profit or anything. It's so, you've priced this so it's available to the community and different organizations can be able to affordably use this. And everything is very well taken care of. I mean, you can still see the history in it, but you don't see, for me, I don't see wear and tear. I don't see, things being denigrated down and still trying to make do with something that doesn't work anymore. That's not what this is. Everything is, as I said, very well taken care of. And I'm sure that falls right into, some of the qualities with the Mason. We take care of our things, which is just part of all of it that you're talking about.
Yeah, that gives credit to our Temple Board Association. We want to make sure that we keep the history of not only our Masonic Lodge, but the history of Council Bluffs here. We're in the process of changing up a couple of our rooms where we can bring back that history. And so people that do attend our businesses or our building will see the history that we've come to in Council Bluffs. They'll see photos, they'll see different shrine fezzes, maybe some swords, some pictures from what Council Bluffs used to be like and what they were like back in the 1900s, 1800s. There's a rich history of not only masonry history, but of Council Bluffs here too.
Yeah, I think we've lost a lot of that history based on, there was a period going through the 1900s where things just weren't maintained and weren't taken care of. So when the time came that it was, okay, we want to update this and make this nicer, what was existing had just deteriorated too far. So that's when I'd heard the term, back in the 60s and 70s, you used to hear about urban renewal all the time. And Council Bluffs went through that. There's a mall over there that, is now just office space, but that's what that was about. And so we lost a lot of that history that it sounds like that's important for you here to maintain that so people can remember.
Yeah, I think so. I believe that wholeheartedly, and that's with our membership also. Our membership is very diverse. We have young, let's say young gentlemen from 18 all the way to maybe to 100. It's a fraternity or it's an organization where we host all ages through our organization, and that they all appreciate having some place where they can come and be part of. And this is one of the buildings being part of that they can take charge of and be a piece of history for this city and for us.
More of my conversation from the Masonic Lodge coming up on Monday's Morning Coffee. So I hope that you will join us then, and we'll tell you more about some of the events that are going to be coming up with the Masons here in Council Bluffs. Just a few of the sponsors helping us out with Morning Coffee include Service Master Restore by Schmader. Cindy Schmader is the one you want to get a hold of when disaster strikes. You have a fire, you have a flood, something is going on with your home and it's kind of catastrophic and you're trying to save some of your memories. That's why Cindy is here. And just reach out to her. You see her website here, servicemasterrestore.com. You can find her through that website and keep that number handy. It's just kind of like your own personal insurance policy that there's somebody available that can help when disaster strikes. Also, we want to say thank you to Carol Horner with Spiral of Accountability. That's the name of her book. She helps businesses better communicate with each other and learn how to, sometimes you need to be able to have those tough conversations. And she has developed a way that people working with each other can communicate with each other in a much more beneficial way. Go to spiralofaccountability.com, and Carol has spelled everything out in there. She's got a video on there explaining even more about it. And you can even buy her book right there on her website, spiralofaccountability.com. And also Prairie and Pine Real Estate Group, Keller Williams of Greater Omaha. Mackenzie Shelton is the one to contact if you're looking to buy or sell or just need some more information. And the reason that I like Mackenzie is, sometimes you might be looking to relocate from one side of the river to the other. Nebraska, come on over. We'd love to have you. Taxes are cheaper here, right? So get a hold of Mackenzie Shelton, Prairie and Pine Real Estate Group, Keller Williams of Greater Omaha. I've had a chance to talk with her. She was on earlier this week on Morning Coffee, and she's also my current podcast for Campfire Conversations. She's my guest, and I was getting some great compliments last night about that episode, saying, it's just a real easy listen, and folks enjoy that because they're local people. They're folks that you may know them already, but you can have a lot of shared experiences because they all live right here. And Mackenzie and her family, they have an acreage in Iowa. And we talk about that in that podcast too. So I hope you check it out. It's on our latest episode of Campfire Conversations. That's going to wrap things up for today and for this week. I hope that you had a wonderful week. Hope you have an even better weekend. And I'm looking forward to seeing you here back on Monday morning. My name's Todd Studer. Have a great Friday.